Good morning, Stevie babies. Tea this morning in a pretty cup. We have a teapot the same. We don't use a teapot anymore. It seems we only used a teapot when we had messy old tea leaves that no one seems to have anymore. And now we've got nice clean tea bags. We don't bother with it. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Anyway, here we are. Nice cup of tea. Black, 2 sugars. Healthy, unhealthy. Nice balance. So listen, today the solicitor is phoning. We're not allowed in the office. And before that, the vicar is phoning to finalise the details of the funeral, which is on Friday. Gosh, that's come round quick. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, really. On balance, probably a good thing that it's pretty quick, because it means that people can grieve and get over it quicker. You know what I mean? They can move on. So anyway, I'm going to move on. Now then, you remember that first painting with the frame? And I said, this is the only one framed. And then I found 2 more with a frame. And I said, that's it, I've got 3 that are framed. And then I found another one that was framed. So I thought, well, that's it then. Guess what? This morning, I got another one framed. So it wasn't 3 that I had framed, it was 4, because it's the same frame. It was a long time ago, and I'm getting old. I'm 64 now, you know. I've got walking sticks. I don't use them, but I've got them. This is much bigger. It's 64 by 64 centimetres. And it's all on board. There's a story to this one. I'll have to go further back so you can see all of it. Obviously, it's based on The Thinker by Rodin. And I was in Spain. Was I learning the language? Trying to. I forget why I was there now. But I was there. And I'd left my poor wife behind. I did that a couple of times. Looking back, it was not good. But I stayed in Manuela's house rather than a hotel. So that was good. That was nice. Family got on quite well, I thought, even though there was a bit of a language barrier. But Juanma didn't speak English. He could write it. He had to write it in his job as a university professor, but he couldn't speak it. Or he refused to speak it. I'm not really sure what. Anyway, that's a by to by. Manuela and Rafa had a studio which they shared with other people, such as doctors and well-to-dos. It was based in a flat in the not Euro camp. Or maybe it was. There's a block of flats called Euro something. Eurosol? Might be. Anyway, they shared a flat there, and Manuela and Rafa didn't pay any rent on that because the other people paid it on the understanding that Rafa and Manuela gave them lessons in art. Which Manuela and Rafa were just amazing at that. And the others were quite good, but you could say that not the same standard. Well, while I was there one day, while they were teaching, I got put into Rafa's room and presented with a board and some paints. Now get on with something. So I started this, and one of them would come in and go, oh, more lights, and clear off. And then the other one would come in the room and go, oh, more dark. So we spent all night going, more lights, more dark, more lights, more dark. I should have called this more light, more dark, really. It'll always stick in my mind. But Rafa was quite impressed that I found this image in a book. And he said, oh, I would never have thought of doing that, which was a bit of a compliment, really, I think, from Rafa. He's now a professor at the University of Granada. I think he does teach photography. which is ironic because we once went to a photographic exhibition in Granada, and he said to me, "You like photographs? I don't like photographs." So there he is teaching photography. Life's like that, isn't it? You say you don't like it, so it gives it you. Anyway, there we go. So a little story to go with that one. It's too big to hold up and continue to talk to you. So I'll just do that. I brought this home wrapped in newspaper to protect it. No frame, obviously. And the customs insisted it went through an X-ray machine. I mean, for God's sake, you can see what it is, an X-ray machine. It barely fitted in. In fact, he had to get his truncheon and shove it through because it got stuck. Unbelievable. It's a board. What could it possibly else? What could it hold? It's not going to hold drugs in it, is it? Look, that's how wide it is. For God's sake. I thought I'm not going to say anything because they all have guns in Spain. You don't argue with them. And it eventually got through. It was okay, and I rewrapped it. The newspaper got ripped, so I rewrapped it and got on the plane with it. So I didn't want to go in a hold. And I'm glad I didn't, because although I'd forgotten it was there, I rather like it. And it's got my actual proper signature, not the one I put on checks. But signature, Steve B. Robinson. That dates it. It's quite a nice signature, but it does take up a lot of space, whereas that scribble that I do, the tag, which is actually my three initials joined together, I think is a bit more eye-catching. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I do all the time now. I don't even think about it. So there we go. That's today's painting. Today's talking life bit. I can understand these people pulling down that statue of a slave trader in Brighton. I think it's Brighton. It might be Bristol. I forget. Oh, I know it begins with a B. But it is still criminal damage. Perhaps I should have painted it white. Well, not white, but no, this colour. That might have said a bit more. They don't think about these things, do they? They just get angry and go, "Oh, put that down. He was a slave trader. He might have done other things. And that's why his statue's there. He might have done good things." People are not wholly bad. Even Hitler loved dogs and was a vegetarian. You know what I mean? So if they'd painted him, actually, a bit better might have been to paint him half that colour and half brown. That might have said something. Yeah, but pulling him down, that's quite bad. But worse is chucking him in the river or the canal, whatever it was, because he can't stay there. So now the authorities have to go and dredge him out because he'll be a danger to boats and to wildlife. I mean, what are these people thinking of? Well, that's it, isn't it? They just don't think. They're reacting to their own anger, their own emotions. And they've had many years to do this, and they've just chosen to do it now because of poor Mr. Floyd in America. I'm sure he'd be really proud of them. Anyway, on that unhappy note, let's leave it there. 9 minutes. I'm getting shorter, getting less things to say. Probate. Got all the documents, not the documents, got all the info, printed it all out of how to do it step by step. The hardest part is valuing the estate, because you have to value the estate and tell the taxman before you do anything. In other words, they want your inheritance tax. But fortunately, Margaret is under the threshold to pay inheritance tax. So there'll be none of that particular pokery. But you still need to do it in order to get that deed of probate. So it's quite easy, isn't it? Step by step by step by step. And it's not costing you the £500 to £1,000 that the solicitor is going to cost you. In fact, there's an office in Leicester that I've saw advertised on YouTube where they do all the forms for you for, you know, forming banks and forming the tax man, blah, 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 for the grand sum, £29. Why do I need to buy forms off these people? Just write a letter. That's all you have to do, and everything's online anyway. It's ridiculous. They're all just out to grab your money at a time when you're vulnerable. Well, thankfully in this family, I don't get emotional like that, so I'm not vulnerable. Lacking emotion is, or lacking empathy maybe, is quite a good thing sometimes, let me tell you. I do feel weird sometimes when I see people crying at people dying, and I just want to laugh. It's weird how funerals do that to me. It's I had this before I got into spiritualism, where I now believe because of that. Well, I think I believed it before then, because all my family are a little bit trick cyclists. You know what I mean? I always thought that death isn't the end. You carry on as something else. So anyway, let's not be sad. Let's be happy because the weather's slightly better today than it was yesterday, or at least it is here in Hinckley in Leicestershire, in the studio, in the office. So let's hope it picks up again, because we were enjoying that really hot weather, weren't we? I was. Anyway, just gotta go. So, you know what I'm going to say. Love all, hurt none. Walk in soft shoes. Cheers, babies.